Clearing addictive energy. In the SRT dictionary, Robert Detzler explains that anything can become an addiction, even the practice of SRT. An addiction is a belief that something is absolutely necessary, that you cannot live without it. There are many forms. In fact, the soul can also be addicted to other souls. While we commonly associate addictive energy with substances such as drugs, alcohol, caffeine, and other bad habits and vices, the definition may also extend to unhealthy coping strategies that produce a chemical or mental emotional dependency, including negative and positive emotions like anger or even love. Often a focal point for our control patterns, which may be accompanied by anxiety, projection, and obsession. We can hold addictive energy on many things, such as gaming and gambling, computing and cyberstalking, money and finance, pornography, people and relationships, career and job searching, consumerism and shopping, food, health and diet, even exercise. If done to excess, not only may addictions compromise our physical and mental health and well-being, even some of the more socially appropriate ones may succeed in producing invisible energetic blocks that deny, delay, challenge, or push onto our soul-level desires, repelling rather than attracting their manifestation. While the addictions themselves may give us a short-term dopamine hit, which may be ego-gratifying, they rarely lead us to the lasting happiness or abundance we seek. Spiritual response therapy is a very good system for clearing addictive energy. For more information about how to be trained in SRT, see spiritualresponse.org. Transforming Blockages is another useful multidimensional healing system for addiction recovery. For more information, please see Jill and Remi's webinar series at twinflamehealers and quantumunion.com. And as always, please remember to like and share this video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. I appreciate the energy exchange. Hello, this is the Lady of Shalott, and welcome to this SRT clearing on addictive energies. So as usual, I have assembled a group body and I have prepped it to work off camera. And by group body, I'm defining that as all listeners to this recording, now and in the future, the lineages you're connected to. So these may be ancestors with whom you share biological DNA, but also non-biological, cultural, symbolic, religious, spiritual lineages you may be connected to. I've also included your immediate soul group, extended soul group, monadic level, and all of our high self teams committees. Okay, so let's get into the work. What is the positive, negative number that this group body is currently holding on addictive energies? And the positive is at 50. Okay, and what is the negative? It's at 100. Okay, and what is the level of consciousness that this group body is operating at from chart 3, please? And we're getting that it is at the level of light status, which is still quite low on chart 3. So let's start by rebalancing that positive negative number from that of 50 positive, 100 negative, to 100% positive, 0% negative, from that of light status, all the way up to radiant love, new paradigm. So I'm beginning to douse on that, and as I do so, you may hear my pendulum clicking in the background. And I am going to lay in some clearing statements to help with this process. It's not important that you know what all these things mean. Just sit back and receive. So clear through all levels, layers, depths of chart 3, all elevations, vibrations, all 7 or more realities. Clear from inception to present time and into the future. Clear all duplicates, copies, backups, rebuilding, replication programs. Clear mirror images and meld the mirrors. Clear all other programs that may trigger these. Clear anything hidden, buried, covered up, lied about, denied, cursed, or avoided. Body memory, memory impingements, emotional impingements even. Anything else the soul may be hiding vis-a-vis addictive energies. And please clear this in 0 time. Again, for all listeners to this recording, now and in the future, the lineages they're connected to. Clear for the soul group, extended soul group, monadic level, all of our high self teams, committees. And as we're clearing, I'll just read a little bit about light status from the SRT dictionary. As designated on chart 3, there is 1 level of consciousness and 3 offices. When out of the body and at the light status, you may serve 3 incarnated souls as their high self, guardian angel, or guide. This level is the beginning of the spiritual or light realms, where there are ever-continuing levels of expansion. If addictions themselves are running as a master program, let's ask to burn the branches, the seeds, the roots. If it's running as a soul program, let's ask to clear excesses, burn the branches, the seeds, the roots. If it's running as a soul program, let's ask to clear escapism, burn the branches, the seeds, the roots. Again, if it's running as a soul program, let's ask to clear health abuse, burn the branches, the seeds, the roots. If it's running as a soul program, let's ask to clear alcoholism, burn the branches, the seeds, the roots. If it's running as a soul program, let's ask to clear and sexual coveting and or sexual perversion, burn the branches, the seeds, the roots. If they're running as soul programs, let's ask to clear. And those are just some of the obvious ones. And as I explained in the introduction, we can hold addictive energy on many things, not just on addictive substances like drugs and alcohol. And in fact, I did this in the prep to work, but if there are any addicted souls, extra souls, multiple souls, hidden souls, Siamese souls, let's get all those released as broadly as appropriate. Let's apply SRT power code 3x5 to help assist in that process, please. Good. And again, triple shield us to the power of 3 times 3 with light, both for each of us separately, as well as protect the energy of this group body. 12 by 8 to trap any separates, discarnates. 9 by 9 just for more personal protection. Those are all helpful. And a useful shorthand. They come from a list of SRT power codes channeled by a lady in Venezuela. Spirit says they are accurate and can be used to greatly affect situations in life. Okay. And we're stopping. Good. Where do we start this clearing, please? On addictive energy. It looks like we are going to one of the archetype charts, 8B, other archetypes pre-programmed before creation, correct. Okay, what comes up here? It's a block to positive potential. So addictive energies are blocking our positive potential, in other words. Okay, so which one, please? And we're getting freedom. Interesting. Freedom with the Apostle Thaddeus. Okay, so what's interesting about this particular archetype chart is it is a progressive chart. So with positive potentials, what we do is we clear that potential, so the block to freedom and everything on the chart that follows it. So therefore, on this particular chart, what comes after freedom with Thaddeus is forgiveness with Nathaniel Bartholomew. So there may be some forgiveness work we need to do. For example, self-esteem with James the Older and wisdom with Jesus. So what we're going to do is I'm going to set up the clearing statement. I'm going to read a little bit more about those 4 apostles for you. And usually when I do that, each apostle is associated with a different organ, gland, cell, tissue of the body, sometimes an energy center. So I will lay in a little mind-body work as well. In SRT, the positive potentials pre-programmed by spirit are part of our soul's makeup and must be cleared for every soul, including those souls who make up our high self teams and committees. So here we go. Clear through all levels, layers, depths of chart 3, all elevations, vibrations, all 7 or more realities. Clear from inception to present time and into the future. Again, of all listeners to this recording, now and in the future. Clear the cellular level, DNA. Clean in the ancestors. Clear for the soul group, extended soul group, monadic level, all of our high self teams, committees. And any combination, any permutation within this group body where there's something to be worked with, resolved, released. We're clearing any and all blocks to freedom, forgiveness, self-esteem, and wisdom. And now from the SRT dictionary, under apostles. So Jesus chose 12 special students, which he called apostles. They symbolize 12 spiritual faculties within mankind that need to be fully developed for the full expression of the Christ nature. So we can think of those also as the virtues, right? In the Old Testament, they are symbolized in a very simplistic way by the 12 sons of Jacob of Israel. They indicated the beginning development of the basic spiritual faculties, which are magnified and completed in the 12 apostles. Here are the names of the apostles, their location in the body, and the spiritual faculty which they symbolize. The first definition of each disciple is one developed by Charles Fillmore, the founder of Unity. The second definition is the one found on chart 8B. So the first one we're working on right now is Thaddeus with freedom. And so Thaddeus himself is associated with the organs of elimination, renunciation, and freedom. So what we're going to do as an archetype himself, we're going to bring Thaddeus up to the light. We're already working on releasing blockages to freedom, renunciation. If there's dark energies that want to be released either from Thaddeus as an archetype or from the organs of elimination. So typically the 5 organs associated with elimination are the kidneys, lungs, liver, skin, and the large intestine or colon. So that makes perfect sense, especially if clearing the addictive energies involves detoxing from addictive substances such as drugs, alcohol, and chemicals. Indeed, this may indicate that the discordant energies and emotional toxins that are anchoring the addiction have migrated out of the etheric body and its associated chakra center and started to lodge onto the organs of elimination. For others receiving this clearing, the addiction is showing up in the lineages, which may make us more susceptible to somatization in the future. For example, if our ancestors had a history of alcoholism, even if we only drink socially in this lifetime, we may still be more prone to alcohol intolerance or even fatty liver disease. So let's go ahead as we're working on Thaddeus, let's go ahead and drain, especially blocks to freedom enunciation, but drain addictive energies in a broader sense from all the organs of elimination. So to do this, we're going to work with healing angels to help assist, White Brotherhood medical team, the Arcturians and their advanced computers, Christ energy, Medicine Buddha, Archangel Raphael, and Mother Mary. Let's work with green flame, blazing kidneys, blazing lungs, blazing liver, skin, large intestines. You can just visualize all of these effective areas blazing with green. Let's ask to attune and calibrate to the level of vibrant health and well-being. Ideally, this would be 600 on the Hawkins scale of consciousness. This level is associated with peace, which is a very high vibration, but also the spontaneous, if not miraculous, healing of disease, please. If anyone can be granted a zero-time clearing, we ask that that be done. Otherwise, we ask healing angels with the help of Thaddeus himself to continue to run energy until that calibration attunement set point has been reached. If there are dark energies that Thaddeus himself is holding as an archetype or that are lodged onto the kidneys, the lungs, the liver, the skin, or the large intestine, or more specifically, the colon, remove and bind anything demonic, satanic, luciferic, sources of all evil energies, attachments, entities, implants, cords, psychic hooks, psychic ties, soul fragments, binding agents, revoke permission, remove and bind. Kali, Estrella, Krishna, and beyond to escort these dark forces to their perfect place or to the light, please. Reclaiming any lost soul fragments, cleansing. Isis, Osiris, soul retrieval. Reintegrating the fragments with the soul through all levels, layers, bodies, minds, past, present, future, forward and backward. Putting the kidneys, putting the lungs, putting the liver, putting the skin, putting the large intestine and the colon, and putting dear Thaddeus back together again. Good. Now, Nathaniel Bartholomew is associated with imagination and forgiveness. So we may find that there are people we need to give or receive forgiveness for addictive behavior, including ourselves, especially if we enabled the behavior in some way. In fact, forgiveness is one of the steps in social support groups such as AA, NA, and Al-Anon even. These next apostles are associated with the pituitary gland, which is in charge of the endocrine system and is important to wholeness, balance, and vitality. Bringing Bartholomew and Nathaniel up to the light. And we're going into the pituitary gland. We're blazing the gland now. Clear activate, green flame, healing angels to help assist. Again, from the gland itself or from the etheric body. So the corresponding etheric body here would be of the third eye chakra. Remove and bind anything, demonic, satanic, luciferic, sources of all evil, attachments, entities, implants, cords, psychic hooks, psychic ties, soul fragments, binding agents. Again, revoke permission, remove and bind. Kali, Estrella, Krishna, and beyond to escort these dark forces to their perfect place or to the light. Good, reclaiming any lost soul fragments, cleansing. Isis, Osiris, please, to help us perform a soul retrieval, reintegrating the fragments now with the soul, levels, layers, bodies, minds, past, present, future, forward and backward. Putting the pituitary gland, putting Bartholomew and Nathaniel back together again. And while we're on the subject of detox, both the pituitary and pineal glands and hypothalamus are highly susceptible to heavy metal toxicity. So this may indicate that those receiving this clearing may need to switch to fluoride-free toothpaste or start drinking more filtered water. And if you happen to have old mercury amalgam fillings, you may also want to look into getting those removed. Okay, and then the third archetype we're working on is James the Older. And he is associated with the solar plexus chakra, wisdom, self-esteem. So addictions may be blocking our wisdom, self-esteem, or we may be turning to them as a numbing agent. Perhaps we lack the necessary willpower to just say no or to resist peer pressure. James the Older was John's twin brother. They were the sons of Zebedee, but were called the sons of Boanerges or the sons of thunder. Bringing James the Older up to the light. Solar plexus, etheric body. Remove and bind here. Anything demonic, satanic, luciferic, sources of all evil, attachments, entities, implants, cords, psychic hooks, psychic ties, soul fragments, binding agents. Again, revoke permission, remove and bind. Kali, Estrella, Krishna, and beyond to escort these dark forces to their perfect place or to the light, reclaiming any lost soul fragments now. Cleansing, please. Isis, Osiris, again, one more time. Soul retrieval. Reintegrating the fragments now with the soul, levels, layers, bodies, minds, past, present, future, forward and backward. Putting James the Older back together again. Blazing solar plexus. We can continue to use green flame since we're doing mind-body. We can also use purple flame like we did last week. We did a little, when we were doing the formal SRT clearing on blocks to self-esteem, we did a little work in the etheric body. And I used purple flame, Sunakamara, Lord Maitreya, masters of the 6 ray of peace to help assist. Good, and I'm feeling the vibration rising considerably. And then finally, Jesus himself is not associated with an energy center or a location in the body, but he does initiate the crown chakra in Theosophy. So we're just asking to clear any and all blocks to understanding, blocks to wisdom or awareness, asking to clear and activate the crown chakra in its 1,000 lotus petals, blazing with more green flame for healing and yellow or gold for activation. Good, and that's all I'm guided to do there. Is there anything else in this chart? No, that was quite a bit of work. So where shall we go next on this clearing on addictive energy, please? Lords of Karma, Archangel Michael, God team. We're getting chart 20 now. Redefining consciousness. What comes up here in connection to addictive energy? Imbalance of the etheric body at the 1 level. Okay, it's the pattern body. Let's go ahead and clear that, and I will define that program from Detzler's Soul Recreation presently. Clear through all levels, layers, depths of chart 3, all elevations, vibrations, all 7 or more realities from inception to present time of all listeners to this recording now and in the future. Clear the cellular level, the DNA, clan and the ancestors. Clear for the soul group, extended soul group, monadic level, all of our high self teams, committees. Imbalance of the etheric body at the 1 level. So the etheric body, which was created for each individual at the 1 level, was whole, perfect, and in complete harmony and balance. During the process of becoming, incarnating, and learning, the etheric body got out of balance, and it is necessary to restore that balance at the 1 level. So the 1 level is a particular level of consciousness and SRT. It is still located on the first page of chart 3. I believe it is below the Godhead. Yeah, it's really at the Godhead, and there are 2,000 levels within the level of 1. So already, even at the 1 level alone, the opportunity for imbalances and excesses would seem to be exponential. And so, yes, the etheric body, which has a subconscious mind, is located at this level. And we can think of the chakra column as being the etheric body as well. In fact, of the etheric body in the SRT dictionary, Detzler also adds that it has 24 strands of DNA and 21 digits in the number of chromosomes connected to every strand, which are in every possible combination. Indeed, it is the microcosm of the macrocosm, reaffirming the exponential extent of those same 2,000 levels within the 1 level. And so the implication here is that addictive energies are creating imbalances in the etheric body. This makes perfect sense given our work on the 8B archetype chart earlier, where we were guided to do a little work on the solar plexus and third eye chakras, for example. And as it pertains to the organs of elimination, the kidneys would be associated with the sacral chakra, the lungs with the heart chakra, and some would interpret the large intestine and colon as being part of the root chakra. And while we're continuing to clear, I'll just read a little bit more about the 1 level from the SRT supplementary materials. 1 contains 2,000 levels. This is called ultimate consciousness, and like spirit is first cause, prime mover, and is where the divine blueprint of all that will become is formed. 1 is the source, substance, and expression of all that is created in the spiritual realms and the expression of the physical. Okay, where to next, please? Let's get the positive, negative number now on addictive energies before we proceed further. What is the positive on addictive energy? We're now up to about 80. Okay, what is the negative? And it looks like the negative is down to about 35. Okay, where to next, please? We're getting chart 31, memory clearing. What comes up on this chart, please? Items not on charts. Okay, can we include that in mop-up instead? And I'm getting a yes. Okay, what else? Integrate the 18 bodies. Okay, so it's interesting that that's coming up now after clearing the imbalance of the etheric body. Not only did we do some work in the chakra column earlier, I'm reminded that we also received the crown chakra activation from Jesus. Like karma clearing deity Shiva from Vedic tradition and Archangel Michael from New Age spirituality, Jesus is their equivalent in Christian theology. In fact, somewhere in his work, Detzler states that the practice of SRT is essentially advanced forgiveness work, which is really Christ's main message around atonement and redemption. What else? We also want to install programs to keep the soul clear. Yeah, that makes sense too. Since we already removed addictive energies from the etheric body and corresponding energy centers, organs, and glands, it's better to protect our investment than experience a relapse, right? Clear through all levels, layers, depths of chart 3, all elevations, vibrations, all 7 or more realities from inception to present time and into the future. Clear the cellular level, DNA, clan, and the ancestors. Clear for the soul group, extended soul group, monadic level, all of our high self teams, committees, please. Integrate 18 bodies. It is of vital importance to ask for the complete integration of the 18 bodies with luminous and wellspring. This is the final atonement and ascension spoken of by Jesus. We do have a physical body as one of the final 18 bodies after the completion of the incarnational learning process. However, it is not the corruptible physical body that is subject to illness, dissolution, and death that we experience through while incarnated. It is rather a spiritualized body energized by spiritual life. And then programs to keep the soul clear. The soul never stops experiencing, learning, expanding, and growing. Ask that positive programs be set up at all levels on chart 3, levels of soul consciousness and above and below to keep the soul clear. Okay, so that's what we're doing now. And if it's appropriate to set up a healing team, a healing committee, to help assist with the process of installing these programs to keep the soul clear, especially since we've done a spiritual detox of addictive energies. And while we're on the subject of detox again, something else which can be common along an ascension journey are ascension detox symptoms. Especially if we're doing a lot of energy work, these may manifest as physical aches and pains in the body. For this reason, it's important that when we do this work, that we do it incrementally. Detzler notes that even the practice of SRT itself can become an addiction. Indeed, if we're trying to do too much all at once, this may make us more prone to a healing crisis. Ideally, it's advisable to do a clearing like this and then to allow a couple of days for integration before moving on to another. What I'm also going to add here is something we do during mop-up too, is we ask to clear recreation programs, which is related to the programs to keep the soul clear. So we want to clear anything that might make us want to recreate anything we cleared or to create something similar in the future. As SRT practitioners, we usually already include replication programs in our clearing statements. Although something else that we might also ask to do during mop-up is to give infinite guarantee that the clearing will hold. Okay, the next place I'm guided to go is to a healing by father, mother, grandfather of the oversoul. This is another mind-body modality. So download and apply all levels, layers, depths of chart 3, all elevations, vibrations, all 7 or more realities from inception to present time and into the future of all listeners now in the future, the lineages you're connected to, soul group, extended soul group, monadic level, all of our high self teams, committees. The reason why I'm guided to do this is because after attempting to detox the body, it's not uncommon to experience an increase of symptoms or even new symptoms. If this were a physical detox, for example, we might have withdrawal symptoms. So healing by grandfather, mother energies can help with the aches and pains that might be associated with that. And yeah, if there are any spiritual programs that come up in connection to that, let's ask to clear as well. And I have defined both of those in earlier clearings, but I will just, in the event you are coming to the Lady of Shalott as a first-time listener while we're clearing, I'm going to define both of those programs again. So the healing by father, grandfather, mother energies of the oversoul. At the head of every oversoul and soul family, there is a mother and a father. In the Holy Bible, they are called Adam and Eve. There are many descendants of the mother and father of an oversoul, and the family may consist of a few souls, hundreds, thousands, or beyond numbers and into infinity. The grandfather is spirit, that which is the source of all that is. Sometimes a person may experience pain in the body that seems to have no final solution. When cleared, it goes away for a time and then it returns. It may indicate that you need to ask for healing by father or mother or grandfather or a combination of all three. And now spiritual programs. Another area that seems to cause problems is referred to by spirit as spiritual programs. There may be a pain in my body that does not seem to have any other cause. For example, you may not have stressed your body in any way that you can recall, yet you have a pain. When you ask high self if there is a program, cause, or reason for the pain, you receive a no response. You may then ask if a mental, emotional, or physical cause, and you may receive another no response. In this case, ask if it is a spiritual program, and a positive response is usually received. Asking for clearing results in freedom from the pain. The level of consciousness indicated on chart 3 is at number 1 above the chart. Again, it has to do with the extension of spirit and the soul's desire to be at one with that process. You can ask that the soul releases the desire and belief that it has to experience all that spirit extends in order to prove its obedience and worth in the eyes of spirits. Okay, is there anything else that wants to be included in this clearing on addictive energies today? And I'm getting a yes. Let's check the positive negative number again on this. We're getting it's up to about 95 positive. And what is the negative? It's down to about 10 negative. Okay, so where to next, please? Final forgiveness chart 28. Release anger at all levels. Okay, that's come up before in another recent clearing, I think on the clearing on blocks to abundance, maybe. Anything else on this chart? Clear for integrity of consciousness. Okay, let's get both of those programs cleared. All levels, layers, depths of chart 3, all elevations, vibrations, all 7 or more realities from inception to present time and into the future. Clear the cellular level DNA, clan, and the ancestors. Clear for the soul group, extended soul group, monadic level, all of our high self teams, committees. If anger itself is running as a master program, let's ask to burn the branches, the seeds, the roots. If it's running as a soul program, let's ask to clear. Although we can be addicted to either positive or negative emotions, anger or resentment are some of the most common emotional addictions, along with anxiety, sadness, and excitement. And now the definitions from Detzler's Soul Recreation. Release anger at all levels. Anger can even carry over from the previous one universe as part of the total consciousness of the souls who experienced in that one universe. This anger can be part of the embryo, the divine plan, the first draft, and the extension of both the spiritual and the physical realms. And in other clearings, I think we connected that back to fire planet energy in some cases too. Like if we've had other lifetimes on a planet like Mars in another dimension, if it's appropriate to close any non-essential portal ways that we may have open to fire planets. Let's ask that be done. 7x4, 3x1, please. And that just helps with any further bleed over. If we are still connected to, or we're still running parallel lives, parallel universes, for example, that can sometimes, in my experience, create abundance blocks. And the other program here, Clear for Integrity of Consciousness. Duality began when there was the idea for a new one universe and the plan was drawn for that one universe. Duality causes a lack of integrity in the spiritual consciousness, and that integrity needs to be cleared and reestablished. And certainly anger and addictive energy would contribute to that lack of integrity and consciousness too, especially if we have experienced relapses along our recovery journey, or if we're still running unwillingness or self-punishment programming. Okay, and we're stopping. Okay, is there anything else that wants to be included in this clearing? And I'm getting a no. Okay, so we're going to head right into a mop-up, wrap-up on the topic of this clearing today, which was on addictive energies. I'm starting to douse on a full mop-up integration statement checklist. If you were to book a personal healing call with me, we would go through it in more detail. And if you'd like to work with me directly, all of the details for how to book a healing call are listed beneath this video. If you are a first-time client to the Lady of Shalott, you receive 25% off. Just enter the code NEWCLIENT at checkout. Working with the God team, and it's 200 plus charts on the other side of life, asking to clear anything we haven't known to clear here today in connection to addictive energies. Asking to resolve 100% of 100% of all remaining programs on 100% of 100% of all remaining charts. Asking to clear anything not on charts. In fact, that did come up during the clearing, to clear programs not on charts. So I'm going to just take a moment longer to do that here right now. Clear Alpha to Omega, ensuring our records are clean, cleared, organized, brought up to date to reflect the full benefits of this particular clearing today. Making any necessary tweaks, adjustments, changes to our pre-birth plan. Activate our divine blueprint, bringing on board more of our soul's original gifts to help serve us on this next leg of the ascension journey, or it may still be an incarnational journey for some, however you identify. Clearing away any accidents, injuries, illnesses, dementia we may have pre-planned. Asking any ancestors who joined us today that they be returned to the spiritual realms from which they emerged. Thank you, ancestors. We ask you to send forth your blessings. If there's any other mind-body work that wants to be included in this clearing today, organs, glands, cells, tissues that wish to be treated, brain cell restructuring, homotoxicology done. We did work with a number of the apostles for mind-body on chart 8B. If there are other apostles that wish to be included in this clearing today, let's ask that that be done too. And they represent different organs, different locations of the body, different energy centers, as I explained before. If there's any more anger that wishes to be released, we were guided to release anger at all levels. Any further work on the etheric body itself. That was another area we focused on. Clearing at the level of 1, specific level of consciousness on chart 3. Again, let's ask that all of that be done automatically in consultation with healing angels, healing committees, continuing to attune, calibrate to that best level for vibrant health and well-being. Could be 200 courage, 350 willingness, 500 love, 600 peace. If anyone can be granted a 0-time clearing, we ask that that be done. Otherwise, healing angels, healing committees, to include angels of light, to continue to run energy until the calibration or attunement set point has been reached. Please and thank you. Durga Amura, to help with grounding and integration, please clear the sacrum, the root, the legs, singles, the feet, the space between the feet, the space beneath the feet. Clear and activate the chakras at the soles of the feet and ground down onto Earth Star Chakra, or it may be onto grounding cord with Mother Gaia and Archangel Sandalphon. Good. And as usual, we'll end with one healing tone for the root chakra. We'll use the tone UH. We'll take a deep breath, and then on the exhale, we'll tone together. If you'd like to join me, please feel free to do so. Good. Thank you, thank you, thank you.